Nō reira, tēnā koutou katoa, ata Marae Morena kia koutou, nau mai hoki mai, ki te tātou kaupapa, Taha Māori. Welcome back everyone in our second part of the season 3. Welcome back and thank you for joining us this morning. Thank you for those mihi and karakia this morning. Beautiful, beautiful, wonderful. I can hear all those vowel sounds. As is the norm, not a reo teacher, you know how it rock and rolls, but for those who are new, I'm not a translator or a reo teacher and I don't have qualifications to do this. I simply come with my heart and a passion to enable you and to empower you to use te reo and to help you with your pronunciation. Back translations, of course, we're using quite a lot when I'm translating things that are not necessarily in the Paipera Tapu or the prayer book. They're not approved and are purely for understanding the kupu or words better. What have we got next? Well, Marae Kawa and tikanga, of course, is one of the things that we're covering in this particular series, in this season. Last week we covered karanga, and thank you for those of you who stayed with the karanga kōrero. Kahu Pou was an esteemed guest last week. We'll be covering Karakia this morning. So this is all about Marae Kawa. This is what happens when you go onto a marae. And for those of you who have never been on a marae, there is a process or what we do, the things we do, and it starts with karanga, which is why we started with karanga last week. Nothing happens on a marae until you are called on. And so nothing begins until the karanga proceeds or commences. Of course, the next on that is the Karakia. and we'll unpack that a little bit shortly. Whai kōrero is the talks between people, between manuhiri and haukainga or tangata whenua. And poroporo ake is how we close proceedings on a marae. So those are the things that we are covering in the Marae Kawa or tikanga. We've got readings from the Paipera Tapu this week particularly, and we have the rāranga me ngā inui o te rā, sentence and collect pertinent to Sunday coming. We'll work a little bit more on pronunciations, and I'm hoping that someone will be able to do our ki mai Māori. Waiatia, himene, mō te. Mō te is what that group did at the very beginning before they broke into song. That's a mō te. It's a chant used often. You may recognize some of the words in it. It was simply welcoming all the waka. We've heard that already. We used it this morning. So they've used the waka. They've talked about welcome to everybody. They acknowledge all those. They acknowledge the treasures handed down from their tupuna, from their ancestors. They did that in the mō te. And they said, hoia means to row, to paddle. That's what they used at the end of it. Hoia. Hoia for women, hoia for men they used, and hoia for all. And then they sang e karanga e te iwi, which I'll unpack very shortly. And of course, we've got our usual topical discussions with Māori presenters. So just going over that waiatia that they open up with, it's an oldie, been around for a long time. When I was a child, I remember singing it. I remember not necessarily doing their actions, but we had our own actions, but similar. And this is the waiatia that they sang, te iwi e, karanga mai rā ki ngā iwi e, calling to the people. Kua eke mai nei ki runga te marae e, who have just set foot on this marae. Mauria mai rā a ngā mate o te motu e. Bring with you memories of all the dead. We've spoken about this before. We always acknowledge the dead and our ancestors and everything that they handed down to us in song, in mō te, in whai kōrero. Me ngā tini roimata e maringi whānui e, and the many tears spilling forth nationwide. So it's not just pertinent to the building or to the church. If you were to use it in a church, you might hear this waiata at Tātai Hono, at Holy Sepulchre. So we refer to all tears, particularly in this time of COVID and all the uncertainties in the Middle East. Titiro ki ngā iwi. That's a nice, easy one for you to remember. Look at the people. E ngā mahi mātou, working. Mahi is to work. E hora atu nei e, spread out far and wide. So we're all working. Ruana te whanua, whati te moana e. Shaking is the ground, quivering is the sea. It's referring to complacency. We mustn't be complacent. The ground will shake and the sea will quiver, despite our comfort. O e te aroha, te mamai ia hau e. Oh, the love and the pain within me. Me aha tātou I roto I ngā mahi o te rā, the purpose of our work, because the singers are singing to somebody, and you include those people. Tātou is everybody, totality. If you use the word mātou with an M, it's minus the people you are talking to. So they talk about including everyone, the purpose of all of our work. E huri huri noaki ki te whakarungarawa e, is to turn around and elevate all of us. So we're not to just elevate ourselves, we're not to just whakamana ourselves. Mana is prestige, whaka is to make prestige, or power, if you like. Not a word I like using, but some people refer to mana as power. But it is actually a state of prestige. And ki te whakarungarawa e, to turn around and elevate each and every one of us. It's beautiful.